welcome back to Skill of the Week.
This week's focus is
Cartwheels
and back extension rolls.
Our first cartwheel drill is going to be from their knee, grabbing the pit block on the way up. This is good for getting them to kick over the top and push through their front leg. We can also go starting in a lunge, grabbing the pit block and going to their knee. This is good for a controlled landing and squaring their hips. We can also combine these two drills going from knee to knee. We're grabbing the pit block to keep their arms up and help them keep them together.
Next cartwheel step-in drill, which progresses to a round-off, is doing a cartwheel step-in off the panel mat. So you want their hands at the edge of the panel mat, and you want them to step their feet together, practicing that control and getting that chest up. What we don't want to see is them sticking their butts back and dropping that chest, leaning back on those heels.
Our next cartwheel drill is going up a panel mat on a line, making sure they're going straight. This is good for making sure that they're getting their chest up. We can also do this to a cartwheel step-in from a lunge. Good progression for round-offs. To make this harder or easier, you can unstack the panel mat to different heights. And then this is what we don't want to see, them landing with their chest down and falling out of it.
Our next cartwheel drill starts from your good leg lunge, goes into a handstand, but then you're going to switch feet mid-air so that you land on your bad leg, which is the leg that lands in the cartwheel. This is helping them practice how to land on their bad leg and how to put pressure on it and keep those hips square, making sure they watch that front foot.
This cartwheel drill is great for making sure that they're kicking over the top, keeping their chest in, and that their shoulders are over their hands. We don't want them to go around the side like this in their cartwheel.
A cartwheel stop station can be used against the wall or against some blocks. We're going to go cartwheel, stop in the middle in that straddle. Make sure that they're looking underneath their armpit so that way when they land, they can see their foot and make sure it's turned out, and that way their hips are square in their lunge. And then when we stop against the wall, we want to be straight over the top, and we want our hips, shoulders, and hands all stacked in a straight line so that way they're kicking over the top. We want to make sure that their head is in and their chest is not out and their shoulders are over their hands. And then what we don't want to see is reaching straight down, closing those shoulders, and then arching. You can see it's not in a straight line, which leads to an archy cartwheel.
This cartwheel drill is great for perfecting that landing, making sure they're squaring their hips at the end and turning their front foot out. This will eventually progress to beam, developing that control. We don't want to see their front foot turning out at the end like this because that unsquares their hips.
Here are some ways to spot a cartwheel to make sure that they have good form. So in that lunge, you want to put your front hand on that front leg to put pressure on that leg so that way they don't rock and then go into their cartwheel. So hand on the front leg and then grabbing those hips over the top, and then you can also correct their hips and square. And then another good one is to use the wall drill, except you're going to spot them. So you're going to go here, grabbing those legs, making sure they're stacked over the top, and then again, squaring those hips.
Extension roll drill is great for getting them to push through their legs, making sure they're going to that tight candle with their hands turned in. We don't want them to just sit down without that push, and we don't want their head to hit first. Their hands should go back first.
So if they're struggling in their back extension rolls to get those arms straight, here's a good step. We're going to push to a pike position because this forces them to push down on the mat and get those elbows straight while getting to that straight pike. And then what we don't want to see in these back extension rolls is going over the shoulders. We want to use the full arms and shoulders.
This back extension roll drill is great for getting them to push all the way back instead of up and making sure they're holding that tight push-up at the end. Now we don't want them to interlace their fingers like this because that creates closed shoulders and they can't push as well through their shoulders like that.
Here's a fun challenge to try if they're struggling to get their feet out into that push-up and shooting their feet up too much. So our setup, we have a vault mat and we have a cheese mat. And the goal is to shoot your feet through the opening, just like that. And then
this is what we don't want to see. Toes up above.
Here is a great middle progression for those who aren't quite ready for the floor but are doing really well with the cheese. So you're going to measure with the tops of your shoulders at the edge, sit up to a straight back with a pike, and then you're going to reach down to that pike because that's what we hit whenever we extend those legs. And then you're going to force those shoulders, push them open, hands on the ground, and then you're going to push to that nice tight push-up. And then we can also unfold as it gets easier. All right, so now we're going to teach you how to spot back extension rolls and what to look for when they're going back. So we're going to start having their hands together. Make sure they go back, hands touch first, and that their elbows are all the way locked in that tight candlestick. Once they can hit that position, you're going to grab their legs, and you're going to guide them out. We don't want to go up. We want to push down and get those legs out. We hope you have a flippin' amazing summer.